or perhaps even had a family member or a loved one or a friend who struggled with it, you might perhaps understand why it's being called one of the greatest mental health issues of our time. And now the third annual South African Recovery Film Festival, which starts off tomorrow in Johannesburg and in Cape Town, aims to raise awareness about addiction and recovery through a series of documentary films. Before we chat to our guests, here's a taste of what you can expect.
Cheers. In this country, we drink to numb.
It's like we've got a spiritual craving, a yearning, and we don't have the language, we don't have the codes to express that.
The wiring of the brain now is losing its capacity to stay focused. Bipolar disorder affects everything.
Now, joining us in studio this morning to discuss this year's Recovery Film Festival is recovering alcoholic and festival organizer Dougie Dudgeon, as well as Melissa Fruitlin Graham. Am I saying it correctly? Futrell Graham, who is featured in one of the documentary films called Addicts, Symphony, a story about how 10 addicts formed their own orchestra to play in a very special concert in order to get through their struggle with addiction. It's great to have both of you here. Good morning, firstly.
Morning.
Dougie, I'm going to start with you as festival organizer and, as you have admitted yourself, a recovering alcoholic. What was your reason for wanting to organize this festival and really bring awareness in this way?
Well, I think there's so much shame and stigma attached to being, when you're in alcoholism or addiction. Mm-hmm. And we don't celebrate enough the fact that people get into recovery. Mm-hmm. The figures that are widely accepted, about 10% of any given population is kind of prone to addiction, and they make a lot of damage. And what we'd like to show is that people in recovery, make a positive contribution.
Exactly, and you're doing that through this festival. Now, Melissa, so you were featured in this documentary film. It's called Addicts, Symphony. Let me just give viewers at home just a bit of a synopsis. So, which brought together 10 addicts to form their own orchestra and overcome their demon while preparing to play in a special concert. But only 8 of you were able to remain sober and play the final concert. So, tell us a little bit about this film, the journey through the filming process, and what got you to that point.
So it all happened in 2013, and what got me to that point was, a long line of events of realising that I'd had enough of the lifestyle that I was leading. Mm-hmm. And a very long story short, I decided that I needed some help, so I went to rehab, mm-hmm. and I came to South Africa. And when I was at home and I was in a recovery community, I was talking about the fact that I hadn't played, my 3 instruments for 12 years, mainly due to my party lifestyle. And
3 instruments, so I'm clearly very talented.
Yeah, well, when I was at school, I had a music scholarship, and that very quickly fizzled out as I got older and I changed my lifestyle. And I was talking about it in a great community, and somebody mentioned that James McConnell, who was the brainchild behind the documentary, was putting together the 10 addicts and alcoholics in recovery because he'd actually lost his son to a heroin overdose a couple of years before.
Yes.
And they'd had a conversation about the fact that people, generally had gifts and all of these musicians that struggle with mental health and addiction problems, and wouldn't it be amazing to get them together to create a piece of music? Yeah. So it was a great opportunity to do so, and that's how I ended up there, really.
Wonderful. And tell me more about the power of music, because it's been said that it can be used for many different kind of therapeutic treatments, but in your particular case, how it played a role, and maybe how other people struggling with addiction out there could just find a way of filling that gap.
Sure. I think for me, I lost the connection with the music performance, but I never lost the connection with the music itself. And it was a real anxious kind of time for me, when I was when I did attempt to play in between the starting and the finish line of my using. Whenever I tried to play, I didn't have that ability that I did when I was at school. So that to me was like, I failed. I can't do this anymore, and what's the point? Which obviously is a different attitude once you get into recovery. I think any kind of artistic expression, but especially music feeds us all. It
really does.
I watched an amazing film not so long ago that Dougie put on at the Labia, and it was called Alive Inside, and it's it's amazing what music actually does for the soul and for the brain.
And I actually want to find out about the other films
Yeah.
or documentary films that people can expect to see at the festival. We've already talked about Addicts, Symphony. What else is there?
The opening night film is a film called A Royal Hangover. Now, whilst it looks at the binge drinking culture in Britain and the effect that has on society, costs, etc., it was interesting because I noticed the Weekend Argus run a big article about SA needing to change its relationship with booze. You know, so we're trying to put these into context. We've been strongly supported by the South African College of Applied Psychology this year.
Fantastic.
And they're going to supply people speaking after the films. So even the films that may be about another territory, right, we're going to put them into a South African context and have a conversation after the film to see how that affects here. We've got a film on Friday night, Cocaine Unwrapped, which looks at the social costs of cocaine from its growing right through to when it hits the streets, in whichever country it hits the streets.
Thank you very much, Doug and Melissa, for bringing this to us. And of course, with the statistics classing us as one of the biggest drinking nations in the world, perhaps something that we do need to shed light on. So don't miss the South African Recovery Film Festival. That's going to be taking place in Johannesburg at the Bioscope and at Cape Town's Labia Theatre from the 24th to the 27th of September 2015. Right now, let's find out what